It's like in Afghanistan, we see all these videos and photos of these women, or yesterday we saw in Manipur, women are being paraded naked, and somebody stands up and says this is propaganda. Again, this question is very gaslighting creativity. Okay, it's not your fault, but a generation has been fed into their mind that the purpose of art is to show every side and to balance, monkey balance. Monkey balancing is not art. That is hypocrisy, that is politics about Hindu-Muslim, right? That's where you want to head, but let me. I'll give you a very honest answer. If there is a film which is on the oppression and atrocities on Dalits by upper castes, why doesn't anybody ask this question that all upper caste people are bad? Similarly, when Heather comes or Mission Kashmir or Fiza, Fana, all these so-called celebrated films, including Mani Ratnam's film, including Dil Se and all these kind of films and Rosa and all that, all those films are set in the terrorism period of Kashmir of 85 to 92, 93. Same period these films are. Heather is set in that period because it's made based on a book by a Muslim writer. I am asking you a question. Did you ask these filmmakers, why didn't you show Pandit point of view? They don't even mention the word Pandit. Ranveer Singh met me in one award show somewhere. And everybody thought that, oh my God, maybe there is going to be a conflict. And Ranveer may say that, why do you say things about Bollywood and all? He came, he hugged me. उसने मेरे पाँव छू लिए पब्लिक में सबके सामने मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको. I never told anybody.
Besharam Rang thing happened. There was an opinion that you had, which many agreed, many didn't agree upon. I'll be honest, I was of the different school of thought there.
I had no opinion on that.
No, but your comment, undeniably, after the release of the Kashmir Files, the entire cast and crew faced a lot of burning questions. Sitting with me are two people who faced it the most, I guess, and also dodged them. Not really. They've answered it all, and today they are here to answer it again, only in chat with me on Bollywood Bubble. Vivek sir and Pallavi ma'am joins me for a conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When you were making the film, after the movie, there was so much chatter. There was so much noise, some good noise, some really powerful emotional noise, and some white noise, right? I want to know from you, were you always expecting this? Because you have a certain sense of filmmaking which doesn't really adhere to the usual sense of filmmaking, because you're not fearful of things, you're showing things as is. Did you expect that kind of a barrage of like, jo aaya itna hatred, kabhi kabhi, ya fir questions?
Yeah, of course. I mean, when you challenge the status quo and when you push people out of their comfortable lives, then obviously, and see, don't forget, terrorism is such a big profitable industry now to so many agencies and nations and organizations today, that anybody who challenges that, okay, there are a lot of opposition to that. Okay, you try and challenge ISIS, you challenge any kind of, now Ukraine and Russia, now what's happening? It's going on and on and on and on, and both the sides are attacking each other.
Yeah.
So, and also in modern world we are living, it's the wars are not going to be done with bombs and fighter planes. It is going to be done with narratives. So there is a war of narratives, and Kashmir is in the middle of that war of narrative, and therefore I knew that this film is going to attract a lot of conversations. What you call chatter or you call attacks or whatever, I call it conversations. And that was the purpose of the film. So if the objective is to create conversations around a subject, and if there are conversations from whichever side, third, fourth, fifth, sixth point of view, it's a good thing. People are talking about it. They are studying on their own. They are researching on their own. And look at the brighter side, that after the film, so many people went to, last year, at the end of the year in 2022, one of the most searched words, there was some news in some international this thing, was Kashmir.
Yeah.
And what can be a better news for an Indian if globally Kashmir is one of the most searched words after 1990, so after 32 years. So that's what film has done.
What about you, ma'am? Did it ever bother you? Because he has a certain perspective, he has a certain sense of opinion. Again, I do believe that you are also not fearful of things, but he's very much out there. does it make it increasingly difficult? Do you sometimes be the wife and the mother and feel protective about him, because there's so many death threats also that come?
Yeah, see, it's natural to feel concerned about, your family. But here we were more or less expecting it. That's
Yeah.
why it didn't come as a surprise. But what pained me the most was when a lot of genocide deniers were, crying out, uh, talking all sorts of things about the movie. My heart kept going back to the victims of the genocide, who, as you've seen their reactions, after
Yeah.
watching the movie, how much they were coming to me and Vivek and they were blessing both of us. For me, it seemed like they were being attacked all over again. Whatever they have gone through, their grief, their pain, their agony, the wounds which haven't healed, it almost seemed like somebody's like trying to,
Scratch that wound again.
yeah, scratch it open in a very painful way. And that to me was like the most inhuman thing to have happened. Not just the fact that you have been thrown out of your homes, from your ancestral homes where you've left all your memories behind, you've left your entire life behind, haven't been able to visit it for the last 32 years. And to top it up, there are some people who are saying that, oh no, this is fake. Guess what must have gone through their minds? And that is where, because I'm an emotional person, so my hearts kept going back to them. And believe you me, I was in touch with so many of them saying that don't worry, this will tide over. Don't let this, get to you.
When we see the Kashmir Files, it's art imitating life. But when we see the Kashmir Files report unreported, where we saw the trailer yesterday, I spoke to you before I saw the trailer, so I didn't have idea to the extent that we got after watching the trailer. You guys have actually spoken to victims. You guys have spoken to families who have been through the genocide, who have survived it, or who have had ancestors and stories that have lived on, which for people to hear and for them to tell. You said you're an emotional person. You also internally are emotional towards these people who have gone through so much. When you were researching, were there moments where you felt emotionally so drenched with the stories? Because the movie didn't have their voices, it was your art, but now the voices are gonna be heard.
Of course, I mean this entire experience has changed me as a person, and I also realized how numb, and I was just using the term compassion fatigue, and we become very numb, and
Yeah.
so many filters we create. It's taken out all the filters and it showed me things in black and white, And after that, what really pains me is you asked me what bothers me. I have no problems whether what people say, let them criticize. My only problem is when people say it's all propaganda. Okay, attack me as much as you want. Say whatever you want about me, but Holocaust deniers are punished in Europe. There's a law. You cannot deny it. You can't even question it. You cannot stand in Poland and say, did it really happen? You will be behind the bars. Okay, in India, we have become such an anarchy that we don't even care, and we call it propaganda, and which is very sad. I mean, there are Kashmiri Pandits living or working with you in your offices, living
Yeah.
as your neighbors. They are everywhere except for their homeland. They are everywhere else in the world, and we want to call it propaganda. Every day there is a news of somebody being their target killings in Kashmir. Somebody is shot. You are denying that terrorism exists. It's like in Afghanistan, we see all these videos and photos of these women, or yesterday we saw in Manipur, women are being paraded naked, and somebody stands up and says this is propaganda, right? And that really hurts me. But that also becomes the source of my energy. That becomes the source. That gives me the motivation to say it. So I said, okay, last time you could say it because there were actors doing
Yeah.
those parts. Now meet the real victims. Okay, and last time one mistake I did not make it, but people used it to their advantage. The terror supporters and genocide deniers. We said in disclaimer that this is based on the video testimonials of the victims of genocide in Kashmir. But this time I am saying it openly. This is about the genocide of Kashmiri Pandits. It does not mean that other people did not suffer. they also suffered. But there are lots of people who have told their story. Nobody ever told this story. So we are telling this story. You tell all kinds of stories. Somebody should stand up and make a story on the all the victims of terrorism, Kashmiri Muslim police officers, soldier, police,
Yeah.
cops. They are also being killed because they stand up for India. So they are being killed every second day. There should be a film on that also.
But have you planned it? Do you want to
I mean,
make it?
sir, सब कुछ मैं ही बनाऊंगा, कुछ और लोग भी तो बनाए, यानी मैं क्या क्या करूं? Yesterday somebody is writing, why don't you make Manipur Files? I said, wait, let me finish this. Okay, everything I cannot do. Lots of other people. I felt close to this subject, so I made this. Obviously, my next film is also talking about a tragedy, which is not a tragedy of Kashmiri Pandits, it's a tragedy of India and Indians. So Delhi Files is about that. And we cannot keep bringing bad news every time. We are also bringing good news. We are making the vaccine war, which celebrates Indian scientists, which nobody knows about.
What about you, ma'am? Was it emotionally taxing when you spoke to them? Because when we heard two lines from everybody. I know there's a lot.
It was terrible. Like, I can't even begin to tell you the kind of horrors that we got to hear. And, it's not just so much about the passing away of somebody in your family, because, having reached this age, and we have all lost our near and dear ones. But to lose them in such a gruesome manner and not to get justice, there was not a single FIR filed. Nobody knows who killed them and ran away. I mean, these are the stories which when you hear, you realize that it's not only the wounds that they carry with them, they also have got no closure. And how do you continue with your life without getting any closure? That's why it was also after the people left the valley, after they were forced to flee the valley, when they went to different parts of the world, there is a huge percentage of Kashmiri Pandits who still suffer from PTSD. And PTSD back then was considered to be a rich man's problem, But
Still is in some corners.
Yeah, but if you are getting those nightmares every single night, and if you're going to wake up screaming in the middle of the night, or even after 33 years, you cannot live alone in your own house, wherever you are in the world now, it is a problem. It is difficult to go on living a quality life that way. And we cannot be saying that your stories are fake, at least to those people. So while the interviews were on, I think a point came where, human mind can only process so much grief.
Yeah.
Vivek and I were not sleeping in the night because, as all of us professionals, I'm sure you also have some method of unwinding when you go back home, right?
Absolutely.
There was no unwinding here. We were emotionally so riled up. And very typically, because we were short on time, we were doing like 3 to 4 interviews a day. And at the end of that month, it was like as if a truck had come and hit me. When I came back home, both our children were like, very surprised to see us sitting up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, doing nothing. We were just looking at each other and kept talking about work. So it did take us some time to come back to normal, and we had to come back to normal. We had to bring ourselves back to normal because we had a film to make. We had a job to do. And I'm glad we had a job to do because that's what ensured our normalcy. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened to us.
But sir, you have never shied away from questions. So I will definitely ask you this, that Bachpan se, I have grown up in an atmosphere. I'm from Calcutta. My mother is here right now. My mother has always taught me one thing, and I'm pretty sure that everybody here will agree, that 2 किस्म के ही लोग होते हैं, या तो अच्छे होते हैं या तो बुरे. मेरी मम्मी बोलती है कि तुम जब गुजर जाओगे तो कोई नहीं देखेगा कि तुम कितने सक्सेसफुल थे या कितने बड़े फेलियर, तुम्हारे बैंक बैलेंस कितनी थी या तुम कितने तुम्हारे पास कितने पैसे हैं, कोई नहीं देखेगा. आके सिर्फ बोलेंगे कि आप अच्छे इंसान थे या बुरे इंसान थे. और बुरे इंसान अच्छे इंसान हर कॉम में होता है, हर जगह होता है, हर सोसाइटी के हर कंट्री में होता है. बट डू यू समटाइम्स फील दैट फ्रॉम अ पर्सपेक्टिव, not just, I'm not talking about you, but it has been like an agenda in many filmmakers' minds, and I'm not saying that it's you, but because of that agenda को क्या होता है ना, कभी कभी जब लोग बना देते हैं हर चीज में एक पर्टिकुलर कॉम को अगर आप बुरा दिखाओगे तो वो एक हो जाता है, उनको भी लगता होगा कि यार वी आर ऑलवेज misrepresented because the good people from that that community or that section of the audience will feel neglected and not represented. Do you respect that also when a movie like this is made? I completely agree with what you've done, what you have made.
Okay, so no, but this is uh, again, this question is very uh, gaslighting creativity. Okay, it's not your fault, but our generation has been fed into their mind that the purpose of art is to show every side and to balance monkey balance. Monkey balancing is not art. That is hypocrisy. That is politics. That is for school teachers to do. It's not a job of an artist.
Yeah.
For example, forget, I know somewhere the hidden words between is about Hindu Muslim, right?
Yeah.
That's where you want to head, but we
No,
are
but
very,
the-
no, let me
eventually it's that.
I'll give you a very honest answer. If there is a film which is on the oppression and atrocities on Dalits by upper castes, why doesn't anybody ask this question that all upper caste people are bad?
No,
and
but I would
oppressive?
ask.
No, you would ask, but I will never ask, despite being from the upper caste, because he's telling the story of a certain incident, event, or a point of view of oppression. Right? The wonderful film I saw recently, a Tamil film, which also I think was nominated or they sent it to Oscars. I'm forgetting the name.
Jai Bhim.
No, Vikram, brilliant film, which was about the police, the cops, and their atrocities against Dalits and all those things. Does it mean that every police officer is bad? When you show a politician who's very, very corrupt in a film, nobody says this thing, oh, you mean why aren't you showing politicians' point of view? I think it's a very, very hypocritical and a stupid and idiotic question. I'm not talking about you. Honestly, trust me, you are a brilliant boy. But it's not your fault. You come from a generation where you are being fed because of social media pressure.
conditioning
that
is
we have to
such.
be very nice to everybody.
But the conditioning is such.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is conditioning, and this is fake conditioning. Everybody should get rid of it if you are a creative person. How can okay, when Premchand is telling a story of Hamid, does it mean that only poor people have a point of view? The story, and it's like asking somebody a movie on Holocaust. Oh, why aren't you showing Nazis' point of view? You mean to say there were no good Nazis? No. Germans don't say, when they see Holocaust movies, no German says, hey, why aren't you showing our side? Do you think that there was no good German who helped? Of course there were good Germans, but the story is about the villain. It's about human tragedy. It's about inhumanity. In Kashmir, Kashmiri Pandits, who are the native people of this land, they don't live here anymore.
True.
No Kashmiri Muslim you will find who anywhere in the world who will say, I was forced out of Kashmir. Name one. Not even one you will find who is forced out of Kashmir. Then how can it be their point of view? It's about the displaced people. It's the people who are persecuted. It's not about the people who are not persecuted. Then how can you show that?
No, like you brilliantly said that there were also Muslim Kashmiri policemen and families who also were supportive. There were few who actually supported.
Yeah, but then there
The
is
victims.
something I want to say very, very honestly and openly, because Kashmir Unreported is coming.
Yeah.
And a lot of people may misunderstand. It is about Kashmiri Hindu point of view. It is their story. Similarly, when Heather comes, or Mission Kashmir, or Fiza, Fana, all these so-called celebrated films, including Mani Ratnam's film, including Dil Se and all these kind of films, and Rosa
Yeah.
and all that,
Yeah.
all those films are set in the terrorism period of Kashmir of 85 to 92, 93. Same period these films are. Heather is set in that period because it's made based on a book by a Muslim writer. I am asking you a question. Did you ask these filmmakers, why didn't you show Pandit point of view? They don't even mention the word Pandit. My film opens with a Muslim boy helping a Hindu boy.
True.
My film mentions that Muslims were killed. My film mentions, does anybody ever think, when they think of Kashmir, does even one person think about Dalits? Do they think about Sikhs? Do they think about Christians, Buddhists, Gujars, women, children? My film mentions them. It talks about that. And openly, categorically, in the penultimate climax of the film. Hypocrites are the people who are questioning me. Hypocrites are the people who just feel that, you shouldn't say anything about Muslims because it not very secular, but you can say anything about Hindus. That is wrong. That thinking is wrong. We should be, if something is happening against Christians, we should be talking about it. But if Christians are doing something wrong with Hindus, that should also, we should talk about it. Let's not fall in this trap of Western hypocritical ideology, which says that, majority is always wrong. It's not, there is no majority and minority. Anybody can be minority anywhere, anybody can be majority anywhere, 15 women in one place with one man. Women are in majority, man can be oppressed very easily by those women.
True. That also happens, yeah.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. No, but I've spent 2 days, 3 days actually with you guys, and I know that you guys as human beings have a different thought process. This is art, and that's what. Do you sometimes feel that because of the movie, you guys also have been, or your thought processes have also been judged? Because I also believe that yesterday also when we were talking, you also come from the same school of thought where you feel like there are good people and bad people everywhere, right? So do you feel that somehow, not
this film, this Kashmir Files is about bad people.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, but do you think that because of the movie, your internal thoughts, like they have made out that, oh, Vivek Agnihotri is this kind of a person? Do you feel that has happened with you?
Nobody makes it out like that. I meet millions and millions of people who love our work.
No,
they love
I also love your work.
Yeah.
That is not even a point of view. I think you're not getting my question. I'm just saying that, sir, you guys are very accepting. But because of a movie, do you feel that somehow people have a certain wrong opinion about how you guys are as human beings?
See, I'll tell you something. Nobody will ask this question. Nobody would have asked this question to Vivek when he made Chocolate, or when he made Goal, or even when he made a extremely controversial movie for its time called Hate Story. But they ask it during the Kashmir Files, because all of us have been conditioned in this way that we have to be very sensitive to this subject, and when you bring it so much of unnecessary sensitivity to a society, then free flowing dialogue stops. I think Kashmir Files has managed to open up a free flowing dialogue, and that's why there are all sorts of people talking. And also because I think Kashmir Files was only the first of its kind movie. That's why people think that they're forming opinions. Let our second movie come. Maybe they'll form a different opinion.
Absolutely.
You are always known by your last movie, So I think up until September, maybe this kind of line of questioning we'll still have to face. But maybe post-September, there'll be a different line of questioning.
I hope that there'll be no questions, but I will definitely say that you guys will still be known with this film for ages to come, because I don't know how many would
that is the tragedy of creative people.
Say it. But sir, social media can be really toxic. You handle it your way. आप बेबाक हो जैसे मैंने हमेशा बोला है, but keeping it to yourself is fine. Like मुझे लगता है कि कभी-कभी क्या लगता है कि जो भी थोड़ा फेयर होने की कोशिश करते हैं ना, कि अगर आपको लगता है कि suppose A is wrong in situation 1, so you have said A is wrong in situation 1, but you're supporting A in another situation, then the same people who have supported your opinion in that first situation
आपके screenshots डाल देंगे.
Come and bajao you in the second situation. For example, I'll also take names, like when the whole Besharam Rang thing happened, there was an opinion that you had, which many agreed, many didn't agree upon. I'll be honest, I was of the different school of thought there.
I had no opinion on that.
No, but your comment, then when you said something nice about Shah Rukh Khan, then the same people who supported you in that statement came. How do you deal with that? Does it become taxing beyond a point? Because then it's like, it's all convenience. Do you feel?
See, I feel sad for them. Seriously, I feel bad for them, because to evolve, to change is a human nature. Okay, and Ranveer Singh met me in one award show somewhere, and everybody thought that, oh my God, maybe there is going to be a conflict, and Ranveer may say that, why do you say things about Bollywood and all. He came, he hugged me. उसने मेरे पाँव छू लिए पब्लिक में, सबके सामने, मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको. I never told anybody, and in fact I asked everybody not to put that video out in case if somebody has shot. And he said, sir, when my nude picture came, you were the only person from the film industry who supported me openly and publicly, right? But the problem is these kind of things go unnoticed. I have supported so many young filmmakers, actors. I always support younger. One of the reasons I come to you is because you are young. I want young people to be brave, courageous, be different, and I always talk about absolute free speech. I say even hate speech should be allowed. Now people don't understand how progressive I am. Now, I used to be a non-vegetarian. Now I'm a vegetarian for a different reason, not a religious reason. Now, because I write about my experimentation with plant-based food, now a lot of people take out my screenshots from 10 years, 12 years back, and then they put it and they say, अच्छा आप तो बीफ खाते थे. हाँ खाता था, अब नहीं खाता हूँ, हो सकता है कल को फिर से खाऊं. ओके, बट टू चेंज, टू इवॉल्व. मैं जब यंग था, आई यूज टू लिसन टू सर्टन काइंड ऑफ म्यूजिक. नाउ आई लिसन टू डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ म्यूजिक. आई यूज टू लाइक डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स. माई फ्रेंड्स यूज टू बी डिफरेंट. नाउ माई फ्रेंड्स आर वेरी डिफरेंट. आई यूज टू रीड डिफरेंट बुक.
It happens.
To change, but I think everybody should have a right to speak, express themselves. Nobody should curb their freedom. So if people criticize me, that is also fine by me. I have no problems with that. I don't say, hey, why are you doing that? But I do lots of good things for lots of people which go unnoticed because people are so focused only on negativity.
When you have opinions, you can have reactions on those opinions for yourself, but you're also a father. When your family, especially when your daughter is being brought into a conversation and her pictures are splattered, there becomes a different side, right? Because you are an artist, you're a filmmaker, you have a voice, but you're also a father who's going to be immensely protective and like emotional. Same for you. You're not on social media, but of course the news reaches you. How do you guys deal with situations like that?
No, it's not for us to deal, it's for my daughter to deal. So when people took out her pictures from Instagram, they started putting it everywhere. So we called her, Pallavi called her actually, and I also called her. I said, okay, so what? Katina, it's okay, don't worry about it. I know how to handle it. So I want my children to be able to handle their own lives. And if they are putting out anything in public, they are responsible and answerable for it. It's for her to decide how she wants to deal with it. Okay, I believe in Khalil Gibran's very famous saying, give your children mind, don't give them thoughts. Okay,
Lovely.
and that's what we have done. We never
Lovely.
tell them what we believe in, and our children think very differently, and they are totally independent souls. And that's how we like our relationships, our friendships. With everybody, we behave that way. It's not that we are better than anyone else, but I say it's your life. I have no problems with anybody's opinion about anything in this world. You will never find me questioning anybody about their opinion. It's one-way traffic. I express myself. I don't care about what you have to say about it.
Absolutely. And I feel
Unless
that
and until you are a public servant. I mean, if you are a traffic inspector and you are creating accidents, then I'll question you. But you are not a public
but
servant.
I'm not, thankfully. What about you? Because a mother thinks differently in situations like these.
No, as Vivek said, because had they been minors, then yes, my reaction would have been different. But the fact that we called her because we weren't in Bombay that time, we were shooting outdoors. And by the time she had taken all the necessary steps, she had made her account private and whatever. And she said, Mama, you're not on social media. You don't understand this. So it's best that you stay out of it. But don't worry about me. I'm absolutely fine.
Which point of view will it raise? Because you are talking about filmmaking from a particular perspective. You are also okay with the idea of the filmmaking happening from a different perspective. So do you plan to show two sides of the story there? Because during COVID, of course, it was a difficult time. It was nobody's fault. But honestly speaking, a lot of people lost their family members too. Like every day, and like every day you would hear somebody you know or somebody who know you, somebody of them passing away. It was a difficult time. I'm saying this because I'm a panic child. So I've been really anxious about my mom, dad, my brother's health. So I would also like to know what would it entail? Would it entail all sides?
Yeah. So number one, the film is not about COVID at all. I mean, दूर से COVID के बारे में नहीं है. It's about the vaccine. Because every news channel, every newspaper, everywhere we have seen the tragedy. We were locked in our houses. The world stopped. everybody's friends and family, somebody died, including ours.
The second wave was really bad.
Yeah,
My
very
brother-in-law,
Everyone lost someone.
Very
you
bad.
know.
My brother-in-law died. One of my friends died, and so many people I know who died during because of COVID. So we know it very, very, very well. But today, you and I are sitting here and talking to each other without masks.
Yeah.
Some people made it happen. Okay, not only in India, all over the world. But in India, everybody said that 40, 50 crore people in India will be infected. Everybody thought that India will become a mass grave. Everybody will die in India because our medical infrastructure is the poorest. Okay, and India has no good track record in making vaccines, and vaccine market is such a monopolistic,
Market.
deadly market.
Yeah.
You can't, and one of the richest markets. So everybody thought that India is going to perish, but India made the world's first and the only and the fastest indigenous vaccine, which rattled and has shaken the world. We became a major player in the medical R&D market. A lot of people couldn't digest it, and that's why they attacked our vaccine. Who made it happen? Who made this vaccine? Okay, the people you nobody can ever think can do, it's Indian women scientists. They were locked in the lab, and the kind of women generally in the West they believe that women who also cook food and look after children, who wash utensils and clean the house and put clothes in the washing machine, they are not empowered women. But the women who were doing all these things, plus who were locked inside and who made vaccine by sacrificing everything, including their children's health, including deaths in the family, so much sacrifice they made. So these scientists who we don't even consider as scientists, because when we say scientists, what do you think of? You think of NASA, ISRO. Nobody thinks they're virologists. Did you know that virology is
So I'm a bio student. I was going to
oh,
become
so
a
you know
doctor.
it. So bio, so
It is a very crazy story.
you are going to love this film because it's
I'm pretty
about
sure.
bioscientists, about virologists, and locked in BSL-4 lab, suffocating inside how they made it happen. So this is about celebrating these selfless scientists of India who sacrificed their children and their family, but they made the vaccine. And today, because of them, India is a vaccine superpower.
True.
Recognized by UNO. UNO Secretary General said that India as a vaccine superpower is an asset to humanity. And we not only just made the vaccine, we helped 101 countries with free vaccines. So this film, every time we can't bring bad news, this is
Good news.
You will feel so good and proud of India and Indian scientists. No Bharat Mata ki jai, no Jhanda, nothing, but you will feel that
That flutter in the heart.
we are good people.
Now, on that note, I'll just say thank you to me. It's always lovely to have people who you can ask anything to, even if you disagree on, because we are human beings, we are meant to agree and disagree on
course.
things. And if we can openly and honestly and respectfully, more importantly, disagree on things, that's the best conversation that can happen. Thank you for a lovely conversation.
Thank you. It's always good to have a dialogue, no matter whether you agree or disagree.
Yeah.
This
But
I
the
agree
dialogue
with.
is very important.
This I agree with.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.